You really think coaching is overrated, dude?
Yeah, I do. I think it's overrated. If you don't have the horses, you're not going to win. If you don't have the horses, I mean, as great as Phil Jackson was, and his record, Red Auerbach, all these guys, if you didn't have all those horses, if he didn't, he had Scottie Pippen, Jordan, those two right there were two in the top 5 in the league. When he was with the Lakers, he had Kobe and Shaq, 2 of the top 5 players in the league. If you don't have a top player, now it's 2 and 3 in the league, you're not going anywhere. I don't care how great a coach you are. It's just not going to happen. You gotta have the horses, man.
And Mac, you know what that brings me up to Greg Popovich. And again, I think Pop is he's a 3rd-time all-time winningest coach, okay? Yeah. Ahead of him is Don Nelson and Lenny Wilkins.
Mm-hmm.
I think Pop has always been a very consistent coach.
Yes.
He's had talent or not. Now, yeah, if you got the talent, you definitely got an opportunity to win a championship. He had Tim Duncan and that crew that he had there, Ginobili and Parker. Yeah. But I think overall he has done a good job of working with the pieces that he's had,
He's good. He's made note of this. He's made note of this. He says, look, I stayed out of their way. I didn't want to mess it up. He was honest about it. He didn't have no ego or nothing. That's what I like about Pop. He didn't have no ego or anything. He said, look, I put a structure in, they followed it, and I stayed out of their way, and I let them play.
And again, to me, Mac, that's great coaching to me. Again, you have to have a defensive philosophy. You have to have an offensive philosophy. Yeah. And you have to have a team philosophy of what the whole team concept is about. And I think Pop has utilized that and created that throughout his whole organization. And pretty soon, he's 60 games from passing Lenny Wilkins for all-time winningest coach. And he's 66 games for being the number 1. I think he'll eventually get that.
Well, I agree that Pop is a great coach. I agree wholeheartedly. He's had some teams, where he didn't have the big name stars like some of these coaches did, and he's got his championships behind it. I'm not saying that these guys can't coach. All I'm saying is, if you ain't got no horses, you can be the greatest coach in the world. You better have some firepower on that bench over there that can make you seem like you are a really great coach. Firepower means everything.
Well, I lived in San Antonio for 6.5 years and covered the Spurs, and I was there, when they won a title in 2016 or 15, whatever it was. When they, played twice against the Heat. And, it's funny, dude, because Pop would say exactly what you just said. He would say, I'm not going to win if I don't have Tim Duncan. I don't win if I have these great players.
Right.
But it is, and I think you're 100% correct. It's totally about the players. It's in a game in which 5 players only play at a time. If you have 1 or 2 great players, but I think it's a marriage of great talent and great players with the right schemes and then the right mentality, the psychological component of that locker room. If you can't manage the egos in that locker room, I think that might be the most important component to coaching in the NBA.
And I think the biggest thing, Mac, to me is that players have to buy into your philosophy. Yeah. They do. And that's why I think they kind of go together. Sometimes to me, it might be 51-49 coaching for these coaches that win championships, these teams that win championships. I think it's a little bit more to do with coaching than a lot more than players. Because
I think it's skewed more towards the players.
You lean more toward the players? I think it's a little bit more of coaching.
I think it's like 60-40 players coach.
Cool. You're on the wrong side again. Just like that man in the White House. You're on the wrong side. How can you say that? How can you say that? You know good and damn well the players carry these coaches. These guys are making these guys. It even goes back to college. But who wins in college?
But dude, listen, you have to look at coaches and the only reason I'm saying that is I'm defending coaches because I've been one. Okay. And that's what I'm saying. So, okay, look at, take for example, this is a perfect example. Houston Rockets. they are a very good basketball team, but I just don't think that coach, Mike, does a good enough job. You know, he stays out of the way too much. Yeah. Sometimes you got to pull the reins in on some of these players, like Phil Jackson used to do, like Pat Riley used to do when he sat your ass on the bench sometime and you would get mad about it. So coaches have to pull the reins back, and it's not all about. That's why I think it's a lot closer than it is a 60-40. Yeah, the players make the league, but the players have to have a system that they can flourish in that works not only good for your best 2 top players, but it has to work well for the team.
Let me ask you this, Coop. You think if Phil Jackson, Pat Riley, Popovich was coaching the Houston Rockets, you think they'd have won that West?
I think they'd have got 1 championship out of that. Yes, I do.
No.
I really do. With the teams that they've had, with the teams that the Rockets had the last 2 or 3 years where they had all the pieces, yeah, they're supposed to squeeze. You got to squeeze a championship out of that. You do, Mac. I do.
Harden disappears in the playoffs. Harden has been a no-show in the playoffs in his career.
But that's why, as a good coach, and one thing Pat Riley used to do, and like Max said, he had me and Bob and Coop sitting over there, McAdoo sitting on the bench. If them starters wasn't getting it done, he took their butts out and put one of us in. So but again, you can't.
Coop, you got to remember. Look, they making a big deal in Miami about the big 3: Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James. This is what pissed me off about Stephen A and them. They haven't researched this enough.
Yeah.
Coop, when you look at our team, we had 6 and 7 guys that made a freaking all-star team. Get that out of here.
I mean, know that, but you know what?
We had 3. Has this ever happened where you could put 3 league MVPs out on the floor at one time?
No, that's a rarity. That's a rarity.
We had the best team money could buy in LA. And we could have won, and I stated we could have won, but hey, the luck of the draw, we had injuries.
Yeah.
And I told Maxwell that. I said, Max, y'all wouldn't have won if we'd have been healthy.
All the years, 84, we would have been a total sweep. Celtics would have never beat us.
Never beat us. Remember Philly swept us?
Yep.
Get the fuck out of here.
But Mac, you know what? Even when Philly swept us, as well as Detroit Pistons, we were still in that game. We just didn't have, and I agree with you, injuries are a big part of what you're doing. If you don't have the pieces, it's hard for you to win.
Yeah, you got to have the pieces. I mean, the pieces mean everything, Coop. I mean.
Is that luck?
Well, just
a little bit
luck involved. I mean, unlucky got us in 83 and 84 because of all the injuries that we had.
Right.
But, I mean, let me tell you, I'll take the 2 that I got, because, Coop can tell you that's the hardest thing in the world to do is win a world championship.